life. They give everybody a trophy. That's what they did tonight. They gave a trophy, a win, a huge win, to Horn, the local kid, for trying hard. You're not supposed to get it for trying hard. You're supposed to get it for winning.
What's up, fight fans? Thank you once again for tuning in. Much appreciated. Remember, if you've not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, sorry, if you are an existing follower, thank you once again for coming through for another video. I'm in a hotel right now, hence the weird setting. It's almost a spooky-like setting, right? I've got a lamp next to me that's trying to provide me some light so you guys can see who I am. So apologies for the picture quality of this, but we're still going to try and forge ahead, sorry, and make a video. All right, so I wanted to do this video. I'm very interested in this one. Ricky Burns versus Anthony Crolla. All right, I was on Eddie Hearn's Twitter page, as I am. I'm a bit of a stalker to him, and he did say, look, a big announcement coming tomorrow, as Eddie Hearn always does, an interesting fight or something along those lines. And I was like, what's he talking about? And I was really trying to wrap my brain around, and I honestly didn't think about this one. A fight that probably should have happened 2-3 years ago, before Ricky Burns had the serious problems he did have, and we're going to get to that. But nonetheless, it's a fight that a lot of boxing fans seem to like. If I'm honest with you, I'm not super excited about it. I'm not. There's almost this, a lot of people have said loser leaves town scenario. I never agree with that, but I can kind of understand if Ricky Burns loses, leave town. If Crolla loses, I still think there could be a bit more for him. But nonetheless, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I feel like Crolla's taken a big backward step here, and I really do mean that. I think Crolla's looked good recently. I think Darlis Perez, the 2 wins, as far as I'm concerned, have been fantastic. I think Ismael Barrosa, an unbeaten fighter, was a good win. Again, a stoppage. And then I think he's done okay against Linares. Look, Linares, in many people's eyes, is the best. It's difficult now Mikey Garcia's back, but before Mikey Garcia returned, Linares was the best 135-pounder in the division. And he didn't do too bad. Look, he got schooled in the second one. But again, this is a guy that I think is in the pound-for-pound talk. It will top 10 at least. So I think there's nothing to be embarrassed about. And this is what I hate with British fighters, and I've said it a lot. British fighters seem to do world-level fights, and then they lose. And for me, rather than stay in and around the world level, they take a massive backward step. And that's kind of what I think he's doing now. I think Burns was almost embarrassed against Ndongo. Let's be straight, guys. Burns was embarrassed against Ndongo. And for me, every time Burns has stepped up to world level, if you like, in the last, what, 3 years, he hasn't looked great. He hasn't looked great at all. I even remember performance against Gonzalez when Gonzalez kind of retired on his stall. I didn't know what that was about, but I think Gonzalez was winning that quite comfortably. The draw against Beltran wasn't a draw. Crawford beat him. Zlatikanen beat him. Figueroa beat him. And then he's gone on and kind of beaten fringe guys till he got against an unknown Ndongo and got schooled badly. Lost every single round at home. So financially, I can see how it makes sense to both of them. Ricky Burns always draws a good crowd. So does Anthony Crolla, so I can see how it works. But in terms of Crolla's career, I don't necessarily know what a Ricky Burns victory does. Where for Ricky Burns, 135 pounds, you beat Crolla, and I know if he does beat Crolla, he's going to be calling for another world title shot, or maybe at least an eliminator for a world title, and I don't think that's fair. I was watching, who was I watching? I think an interview of Timothy Bradley, right? And Timothy Bradley talked about retirement and boxers going on too long, and a lot of conversations about fighters taking punishment and punishment and punishment, and either not realizing it, or friends, families, promoters, managers just not highlighting that this fighter is no longer where they are. They don't need to be fighting again, and they're taking far too much punishment. For some reason, I've never ever had Ricky Burns in that conversation, but then before doing this video, I did go back and watch a few of his fights. Ricky Burns in the last 4 or 5 years, minus the gimme fights he's had, has taken quite a lot of punishment. I worry for him a bit, Ricky Burns. You know, I've never really looked at Ricky Burns and thought this is someone that takes punishment, but then I thought the Latikanen knockout was a big one. I mean, sorry, the knockdown against Latikanen and losing that by split decision, which was never a split decision, by the way, which is laughable. I think he took a few punches to Figueroa performance. Again, a good performance, but took a bit of punishment in that. Beltran, which wasn't a draw, but took a bit of punishment in that. And even Indongo took a few punches from Indongo. He's been hit a lot recently. And I kind of wonder, is he still fighting because of his financial predicament? I don't know if that's improved, but we know that he lost the case against Frank Warren, I believe. And he almost had to start again, financially. Lost a lot of money and had to kind of start again. And I feel like we're getting to the stage where he's taking more punishment than he needs to. I wonder if he was the kind of person that got cut easy and bruised easy and bled easily, we would be looking at it differently. His face isn't like that. He's not got that kind of Ricky Hatton, kind of where Ricky Hatton needs to get cut all over his face loads of times during fights. He hasn't got that about him, so I don't think people realise the punishment he's taken. But for me, he's taken far too much punishment in fights. Look, it's an easy fight to make, which is why Eddie Hearn's made it. I think, and I've said this already, I think it's a backward step for Anthony Crolla. I don't think Anthony Crolla needs this fight. Again, look, it makes money for him, so I get that. But you look at Ricky Burns, he's been campaigning really in the last couple of years at 140 pounds. It's weird how it's difficult to make weight at 135 pounds, but now he's taking the fight at 135 pounds. But hey, you know, when money talks, you got to do it. I'm just upset that Anthony Crolla, after Linares' performance, has almost dropped down. When I'm cool and happy for him to stay where he was, which is in and around top 5, top 6 in the world. Stay there. It's only a defeat. We take defeats too bigger in the UK. You lose, you lose. Americans seem to take defeat and still go in with a big name. The Brits take a defeat. It's almost like, let's start again. And why do you need to start again for? I think Crolla was doing okay against arguably a top 10 pound for pound fighter. Not a problem. Not a problem. In terms of a prediction for the fight, it's very early to give a prediction, but I think Crolla will win. I think Crolla's the bigger boxer. Sorry, the better boxer, but I do think Ricky Burns is naturally the bigger guy now. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Look, Crolla's no Indongo. He's not tall, he's not rangy, he doesn't fight on the outside. He likes to get stuck in on the inside. Now, I don't think Ricky Burns minds that kind of fight, but I do think Crolla's just the fresh of the two. And I think that's what's probably going to win him the fight. Just the fact that he's a lot fresher. He's taken less punishment. And I feel like, although he's lost these last two, he's on the up, so to speak. I mean, this is a guy that before the Linares defeat didn't lose, and he hasn't lost since 2012, and that was against Gary Sykes. So I think he's on the up. He's beat the better opposition in the likes of Ismael Barroso and Darlis Perez. And I feel like every time Ricky Burns has stepped up in the last 4 or 5 years, he's lost. And he hasn't just lost, he's lost convincingly for me. Even the ones that he didn't lose, the so-called split decisions and the draws, he lost those as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But as for what people are giving it, a tag of a fantastic matchup, a great fight, you guys must be crazy. You must be crazy. This is just a good fight, and that's all I'll give it, just a good fight. Anyway, leave your thoughts below, let me know what you think. And thank you once again for tuning in. And apologies for the light, it's not my fault. I've done the best I can do. That's what I'm using for light. Alright guys, peace.